We're live. I know he's got my password.
Check your DMs after this, man.
That's how you walk out of your banks.
My IT guy, he's always giving me shit. He's like, all your passwords are the exact same thing. I'm like, yeah, it's easy. There's no chance of forgetting.
Yeah. Lucky you ain't got Darren Browning because you start asking, what's your father's birthday? What's your mother's maiden name?
Yeah.
First pet?
Look at this question. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Darren Browning. What's the 3 digits at the back of your card? Like, why's that on there?
So funny enough, someone had a business for sale recently, and it was a service office block, similar to what we do at Provis Road, and they do like virtual mail rooms and whatnot, like virtual office addresses. And it looked like a really good business listed on businessforsale.com. And obviously, because I'm in that space, I'm like, let me inquire, see what it is. And the guy emails me back, right? He goes, send me £50 non-refundable deposit and I'll release the information for you. And I didn't do it, I'm actually half tempted to just to get the information. But I thought, if he does this to every fucker, that's actually a good little income there. Like, he gets 2-3 inquiries a day. He's having it up, just sitting there, 50 quid please.
I've had a couple like that. I had one fucker in America email me, he's like, yeah, we want a 10 grand holding deposit before we release information.
Fucking hell.
I was like, how about just don't sell the business then, you dickhead?
Yeah.
How does that sound instead?
Just go on the subject of America, because just chatting about that. They are making a fucking killing. And from a business buying or broking perspective, I've told some of you guys before, I'm not sure if I told Dean, but one of my friends, Mike Steinberg, he runs Hedgestone Business Advisors, and he's got 230 brokers, under $500 million of listings on Biz Buy Sell. And he's posting every day saying, in his New York, at Queen's Laundromat, £1 million or $1 million, 10% down, seller finance, SBA 7 loan, and he basically gives you the deal structure. But and obviously because America's so large and so many people, car wash is selling for millions, where our car wash sells for 80 grand. It's done by some Eastern European who might be underpaying, to get their labour in. Where car wash in America, I've got so many people, they have memberships and all sorts of shit. Yeah. And I just think America's like the land of opportunity, especially where we're at in Britain. Yeah. Being high taxes, leftist socialist government, doesn't like entrepreneurs, business owners, property owners, doesn't like anyone trying to get off their arse and do some work. Yeah. America like fucking
rewards them.
Son. Yeah. I just think it's fucking a bit fucked up. Right, that's the situation we're in. Especially compare it to our cousins over there, so to speak. Obviously, Pat, you know more about America than most on this table.
Yeah, it's just it's a different way of doing business out there. They're willing to actually do a deal with you. Like you say, the brokers come to you with the structure ready. It's the same, and like accessing funds over there is easier. A lot of the time cheaper as well, although they won't have you believe that. But it's just they're just more willing. And like you said about the car washes, I started looking at the process of buying excavation businesses, and you'll see a business and you'll be like doing like $3 or $4 million. So it's one of the smaller end over there. And over here, a business doing $3 or $4 million in like the groundwork side, they've got quite a bit of machinery, quite a few blokes. You look at them and there's a running joke with me and Graham, it'd be like, they've got the truck and the shovel. It'd be like 2 blokes, a couple of labourers, a couple of diggers, a skid steer and a truck, and they're doing like several million a year. It's totally different. It's wild.
That's mental. Do you find the business owner profile similar to the profiles in the UK, like in terms of wanting to retire, looking, silver exits? I know some business owners like our ages who sell up and whatnot, but traditionally, are there the retirees there, or is it more younger chaps looking to liquidate their company? Like, what's the bag?
I'm still seeing more retirees, but the biggest change I'm noticing is they're more inclined to roll equity. Like in the UK, I haven't done a lot over here in terms of acquisitions, done a few, but it's always 100% sale. There's never any mention of rolling equity, whereas over there it's always either the motivation is to roll a bit of equity, or it's on the table, or if like 70% the offers there, like they're happy to stay involved. So
I've noticed a lot of Americanisms are slowly coming to the UK, especially in the M&A space. Like, I always bang on about seller's discretionary earnings, but that's quite an Americanism that I've tried to bring here a bit more. But then when you talk about rollover equity, seller finance or seller equity, you speak to most business owners in the UK, they go, what, you want me to lend you money to buy my business? No, mate, I've proven it works and you should give me 100% up front. I don't work with clients like that, but it's a sort of a culture shock when you're saying to people, actually, this is how it now goes. No one's going to give you 100% up front, unless you're going to do a heavy discount on your profit multiples and whatnot. But But you got to do a deal. And I always say to people, it's got to be a win-win deal. You know, everyone's taking a risk here at the end of the day.
Just off the back of that, 100%. Before I did my first lead generation to try and find a business to buy, I did what most people probably would do and go to business brokers. Now there's probably one major independent business broker in the Highlands. At the time, he was like, right, who's this young guy that's come in here? He's asking me about buying businesses. I'm now friends with him now because he's seen that I actually done what I was trying to tell him I was going to do. He'd never heard of seller finance. Never heard of the leverage buyout. So he came to me with this.
It's interesting.
He came to me with this this business, a sawmill, and the owners were wanting 100% up front. So I remember taking it to the 5D, you know, the kind of the calls where we digest into the deals and stuff.
Deal on that, yeah.
And D was like, there's not a chance you can put 100% up front for this. 70 at the most. So I went back saying, look, this is what I can do. I think it was like they were going to take $1 million. They wanted $1 million, but they wanted 90%. I was like, just can't be done. Can't be done. They would not come below 90. So that was, I want to say, 4 years ago. And the broker has been watching my journey on LinkedIn, seeing where I've got to, see me buy TM West, seeing where I am. And he's like, what have you done there? Like, how did you do that? So I went back to Inverness and had a coffee with him, told him the network I was and what I was doing. And I was like, mate, you've got opportunities right there, right in front of you. And he's like, so you managed to do it with the seller finance? I was like, yeah, I did. And I had no money down as well.
Yeah, nice.
And he was pretty blown away by it. And
what industry was it you inquired about with him, the one that went 90% up front?
It was a sawmill that was manufacturing like sheds and fence posts, and they had it was a very profitable business, but it needed someone to step into it and run it. There was 2 directors, but they were managing the day-to-day as well. So I don't know where the growth, you could probably make growth on the actual product itself, and labour. So there was opportunities there. But they had the land as well, so they were going to try and build a cafe onto the sawmill as well. So
I do feel like one of the underlying questions on business valuations, that how much does it cost me to set up this business, like this sawmill company?
Yeah.
It might cost you 250 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there's goodwill, I hate that saying, but you know, people have built up their businesses and custom and obviously they're proving their financials. But when you look at the sawmill and you think, well, I know a second hand one might cost me 120 grand or so on and so forth. So actually the cost to set this business up is 4 times less than what you're asking for. And especially asking for all up front. It just doesn't make sense. And I went to buy a business for 3.5 million a couple of years back. And the deal structure was about $1.5 million up front and the rest spread over 5 or 6 years. And the guy went, he's been going 30 odd years and I'm still mates with him today. I really don't mind me saying this, but he said to me, why did you give me $3 million up front? I was like 26 or 7 at the time. I went, mate, if I had £3 million in my bank, I'm not going to buy your shitty little business. Like, all due respect. All due respect. Like, much as, we live in La La Land, you watch Dragon's Den and, we're all getting ready with piles of money on the side, I'll give you 20% for this and that. Doesn't work like that. And if I had £3 million, I probably wouldn't be in the country. Let alone buying your business in Surrey. So, some people are just a bit deluded, but it's with the top business brokers. I'm not going to name the name because they know me well enough to sue me now. Let's call them QVC. For argument's sake, takes on anything, does unrealistic valuation, says your business worth 6-7 times. And it fucking ain't. We all know it. We've all inquired about businesses before and brought businesses and looked into it. And these companies, what they do, let's say, Dean, you're selling TM West. I know you're not, but let's just say you are. And let's say the actual value is 2 million, but then this company goes, well, we can get you 6. Come with us. You want the 6, don't you? Obviously, to the person who's not as experienced as us, they're like, 6 million. Yeah, especially towards my retirement, that's a big exit. And then they sign them up for 20-30 grand upfront fees. And they go, right, we're going to list your business. 6 months' time, no inquiries because it's overvalued. They come back, we need to drop the price, because there's no inquiries, I've had some brokers say, because Donald Trump's tariffs, the markets took a dive and therefore no one's buying your car dealership. I've seen all the excuses come to my door from other brokers. But then they basically keep you on a Ferris wheel because in 12 months' time, the 20 grand you've just paid is now up for renewal. And then they go, okay, we need another 20 grand to keep marketing your business. And in fact, that particular company I was referencing, they turn over 160 million a year because they've got other companies within the group. 80% of their revenue from the business sales aspect is all from the engagement marketing fees up front.
Wow.
And 20% is actually from selling businesses.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It's fucking mental.
Yeah,
It is
that's
actually
mad.
mental. Don't get me wrong, if I was had no morals, I'd be bang up for it. You know, just lying to people, taking 30 grand up front. Yeah. You know, if you had no morals, it's a great business. But having been through the ropes of business ownership now, I've got a lot of empathy for these people.
Yeah.
It's taking the piss.
So tell me more about you then, Charlie. You said you've been through the ropes. Tell us more about you and what makes you into that person today.
Well, I'll give you the short overview because we went through everything. Cause you know, be here all day. But so born in East London, Bethnal Green, actually above Brick Lane Bagel Shop, Bagel Bagels. I'd recommend them, or Bagel Bake. Sorry, I should recommend them as well. Moved to Hornchurch, Romford when I was about 3. Grew up. My dad was an entrepreneur, a truck driver, a train driver, and his dad's was all various degrees of success. So I knew from a young age I really want to be a business owner. I always said that if I can be half the man my dad is, he's now smaller than me, but that's what I want to do. That's a good life. So I started business about 18, done a few startups, some supplement websites, tag rugby coaching, transport consultancy, and eventually I was buying other businesses as well. I brought a jet washing business, a cleaning trainers business, all sorts of shit. Because what I do is basically save up all my pocket money, as I call it, because it was small money back then. So just go on Facebook, well, they weren't Facebook Marketplace, but it was Gumtree. Go on Gumtree. Oh, cleaning van, £5,000 with around. And I'll try and get down to £3,000. And yeah, I'd start buying businesses like that. And then started seeing businesssale.com, so I was typing Google and, you know, got immersed into the potential of buying businesses because growing up around East London, you see a lot of people who make a lot of money through ill-gotten gains and you think, cool, how can I get to there? You think as a kid anyway, you think they've had it all, but you don't realise the amount of stress, pressure and bollocks they're actually up to. But I thought, okay, I can do this, obviously legitimately, through buying businesses or starting up businesses. Eventually I bought a company called Newcroft for no money down. I hate that saying, but it was, because I was skint. I had minus £3,000 in the account. That was when I was 22 for about 140 grand. Grew it to 800 grand turnover, sold it. Bought a vehicle recovery business for 480 grand. And that was an interesting deal because Lewis's company has a bit of a story about that. So I brought it in, I think at the start of COVID. I paid him like 280 grand on day one, and yeah, it was making like 25 grand a month profit. So I thought, oh, this is a good deal. I'll pay them 5 grand a month deferred consideration over 5 years, whatever the deal was. What I didn't calculate is that they was going to take the enclosed vehicle transport, and I was going to keep the vehicle recovery side. So the actual turnover of profitability was going to be different. So I didn't calculate that part. And 6 months in, I'm thinking, holy shit, the money ain't right. Like I've just committed to all these loans and deferred consideration, which by the way I PG'd. Because I didn't know, I didn't go any courses, I didn't know any bit. I was like, yep, PG it, sign my name away in a contract, off you go. And 6 months in, I said to the owners, like, look, this ain't working, we're not making enough money, you know, as I thought we was going to. And they basically said, look, tough shit. You know, more nicer than that, don't get me wrong, but it was basically, you know, is what it is to them, because they've got theirs, they're going to get theirs. So anyway, I stopped paying them. Right, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to stop paying you now. I was 26 or 27 at the time. I was like, I'm going to stop paying now. I'm going to prove my point. Because actually you owe me money for referral work and I owe you deferred consideration. Anyway, got down to legal disputes, and then their solicitor actually instructed Lewis's firm to collect money off me. So I think Lewis's firm has collected over 100 grand off me, roughly. Right? I didn't know it was Lewis's firm at the time. I didn't know Lewis back then. I thought it was a guy called Bernard, the original founder of the firm. I actually like Bernard. He's a nice chap. He's always friendly. Other than that time, he went to my missus' mum's address. So I know it's 2 months of dating her as well. I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. But yeah, we got that squared up. We settled in the end, and that chapter moved on. Then I started buying other companies. Sold a big group last May 2024. said to myself, business brokers, like the big ones, are traditionally really crap. So I thought I'd set up Vamos to flip on its head, and that's why I'm here, I suppose. That's short and sweet.
Yeah, it is. I think, like what you, there's loads that I can unpack from that, but I think, obviously, you've set up the, Dean, who I'm referring to, we set up that community of men in business. And have you got any questions for Charlie with inside his story there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably the less mature in business than all of you guys, but I'm just grateful to be sitting next to people that can inspire me as well. So, yeah, as you said, the men in business, you know, the one thing I felt that I'd done really well from the start of this entrepreneurial journey was networking. I just tried my best to put myself in front of people that I knew were doing the things that I wanted to do. You know, LinkedIn's been great for that, even Instagram. And that's why I joined the 5D as well. And that's where I got to meet Graham, my business partner. That's where I met you as well, actually. And through that I met Pat. And I've met you through LinkedIn and other sources as well.
Was it not 5D?
Was it 5D?
Well, I don't think, so I came on as, I guess, speaker, teacher, whatever, but I think you already brought the business and kind of slowly exited actively being in the group. I don't know if you're still part of it. I don't know, 'cause I never see you on there. So.
I am still in the group, yeah, but it's just, yeah, more of my focus is in TM West and trying to kind of build things myself in background as well, but I am still in there. There's a lot of value in there. There's a lot of value.
I speak at a lot of business buying courses, and I said this to Dee, I've said it in other pods and stuff, I think that's the most in-depth, proper structured course, and if I was 18 again, I could have saved myself a lot of heartbreak, like the recovery business and the debt collection from Lewis. Cheers, mate. No, I could have saved myself a heartbreak. I could have, you know, put special purpose vehicle in front of the share purchase agreement, the actual business buying contract. So I just wanted to explain. I know you guys know what it means, but for the audience, and protected myself from a personal guarantee. But I didn't know any of this.
So
you know?
for the viewers watching, then take me back to then that time where what's caused you the most pain. So what would you do differently, knowing what you know now, and that's your younger self sitting in front of you? What would you do differently?
It's weird, really, because like when I was young, I hung around with the wrong crowds, but I wasn't the wrong crowds. And I actually became a professional rugby player for Saracens when I was 16, and I was on a good pathway at that point. And don't get me wrong, bashing your head in for 6 hours a day ain't really a career plan. But then I think about 18, I started going off a little bit. Despite me buying businesses and starting up business and all that, I think my personal life wasn't on form, and that would be like, you know, hanging around the wrong crowd, different women, alcohol, gambling, you name it. And as I've got older, I realise actually the better you are as a person, the better you are in business. And if you're sober, driven, disciplined, your business just thrives.
Yeah.
You know, like Vamos in 10 months of trading has, you know, gone well past 7 figures. We deal with multi-million-pound companies. I'm really privileged. I thought it'd only be like 80 grand a year part time, and you know, that's more than enough for me, you know. And it's just flown off, and I can only pinpoint it to a couple of things. One, my personal life has evolved into a much greater, more disciplined, sober personal life, and also I'm doing something I love. I used to say to, like, people used to say, "Oh, follow your passions, follow your dreams." I grew up in haulage, and I'm not passionate about fucking 18-ton rig. I couldn't give a fuck personally, but you know, I know about it. But I was never passionate about haulage or HGV training or vehicle recovery. It's just what I knew growing up because my dad was in that industries. But now I'm actually following my passion, doing something I love. I feel like even if you're having a bad day financially or business performance wise, you're still bang up for it, you know. So my advice to younger people getting into business would just be sort yourselves out, stop being a tosspot, however you want to say it, and focus on what's going to keep you on form. And if that's going to bed early, if that's not hanging around the wrong crowd, if that's not pursuing them vices, then quick doping fixes, just crack on, you know.
And also, you mentioned about the pressures that people faced when you was younger in the wrong sort of environments, let's say. Do you think people face them within business Because I certainly do. And how do you then balance the ambition with contentment?
So 2-part question there. So the first part, I think business is a cakewalk compared to what can actually happen in life. Obviously, we see what happened to Charlie Kirk recently, just for speaking his mind. And obviously, growing up around London, it's not the nicest of places, especially nowadays. And I think, whether you're having a commercial dispute, a customer dissatisfaction, or even you're having great wins in business, I feel like that's very minor compared to actual life. Like, let's say a family member falls ill, or it's just something turbulent happens in life. That's hard. Well, actually, when it's personal and it's catastrophic or whatever it is, that's tough. Or even if it's really beautiful, like the birth of your firstborn child, that's like such higher feeling than me selling £100 million business and making big commissions, whatever, because it's pure, and business is artificial. Really, we're all just a bunch of speaking apes, and we decided to create some currency and trade, and business is quite an artificial thing, in my opinion.
It is, but something I want to touch on is because there's, again, we can clip this out, but I know there's people like Dean who have travelled from Scotland to Leeds, and this is the part I want to touch on because I have no doubt you've had to sacrifice. Sacrifice is the right word. They'll make that sacrifice in business, but then lose out, as I'm sure you have, Pat, with certain things. I certainly did, but they can't get that balance right.
Yeah.
And then the pressure that puts on them, and they can't get that middle ground right. I don't believe there is the middle ground. But that's why how do you balance that?
On that point, when I was younger, in my late teens, mid-20s, early 20s, I never had a holiday. So I did go on holiday, but I used to work through it, or I'd work every bank holiday, I'd work Christmas Day, I'd work New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I'd sometimes sleep in the office. But because in your head, you think, that's the right thing to do. I'm grafting, I'm making something of myself, all that. But there's two things there. One, if you can't get what you need to get done in the day, you either you're not delegated properly or you're not prioritised properly.
Yep.
And I think that's just a skill happens when you get older. And because I've had my kid quite late on in life, I'm 32 I think now, I forget, sorry, a bit done with that aspect, but because she's only 8 months, I'm quite lucky, and I've started business early, where I actually now have that work-life balance, and I think it does take some time, because when you're burning candles on both ends, especially with business, doing long hours, and then going out partying or whatever I was doing, you start fucking crumbling, even in your 20s, like your body's deteriorating, and I think a lot of like hustle culture, especially these young new gens, I think it's great, but know your limits, and prioritise what's important. I've missed birthdays. I've had family members who are not with us anymore. I wish I could have spent more time with. I just feel like you either work to live or live to work, and the hustle culture is live to work, and really you should be working to live.
Yeah, just off the back of that as well, I fell into the trap of the business buying gurus and the £49 courses when I first started, because when I first knew that you could buy a business, I was told by a friend, and I was blown away by it because he'd done it. So what do? I go and start looking at it online, and I see these £49 courses. Yeah. Listen, anyone can pay £49, but can anyone buy a business and actually run it efficiently? No. So
can they fuck?
Yeah, and that was the biggest lesson I took from it, because buying the business is the easy part. I genuinely believe it is running the business after that's the hard part.
Why can't they run it though? And
there's multiple factors. I can give you a few where I've really struggled over the last year and 6 months. One is dedication. I mean, one of the selling points for these business buying gurus. Once you buy a business, you never have to work a day again in your life. You know what I mean? You're going to be sitting in the Bahamas with a pina colada. that is just atrocious, because I've never worked harder.
I'll retire 20 times.
And it's going back to what you said, it's delegation. And I got so immersed in the TM West over the last year and 6 months that we've now hired an operational manager to oversee the whole business. And it's the first time he came up to me 2 days ago and he's like, just go home. Just go back to Scotland. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, just fuck off. You don't need to be here all the time now. He's like, I'm running this place for you. That's what you're paying me to do. I was like, he's right. Why am I still in here trying to operate this business when the aim at the start was to get that business in a place where it operates itself so I can buy back more time? And
Sorry to interrupt, Steve, but I would say when you employ people, especially like senior management, like
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
done, what do you? Obviously, you've got back the time, but then I think it's important what you do with the time
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Are you
of
more
course.
like sales, marketing, or leadership
Yes.
and vision? Or-
yes, I mean, now that I do have that time, I can actually go back and spend more time with my kids. You know, it's been a rough year and 6 months, especially only getting back to see my kids like 5 or 6 days a month. And you know, my daughter's very young. She's only 1 and my son's 6. I'm missing valuable time there. But it's the sacrifice you said. And the end goal for me is to have these businesses, the more that I buy, operating in a place where, they don't need me and I'm just sitting at the top where I can be at home and working from home and spending more time with them. And leaving a legacy to them too. But that comes at a cost, which is the sacrifice that you make, and that's mine. It's the time with them, which is really difficult because that's the selling point for these business groups. Buy a business, and you'll have so much time and money. Money's another one as well. Like I think we'll all agree that when you buy a business, you're not walking into an abundance of cash. No. Absolutely not.
No, and that's the point I want us to. I think we're all in agreement, as you just said there, Dean, is to get across that even though we have bought and not necessarily all sold businesses, but we've all acquired a business, we've all run that business, stepped out of it, and it's not been fucking easy.
Yeah.
And you can be sold a dream, but it's the lessons that I want to get out there to the people, that you can be sold that dream, but the struggles and the solutions that we can give out there through our own experiences. I mean, I know some of yours, Pat, I know yours, then I know some of yours, but they're all individual struggles. They're not all bad, but some of them are, and there's loads of people that will go, they've got really high-flying jobs, can't see their fucking kids. How do you even start that journey to know that you wanted to buy a business and take that control back?
Well, I come from a small town on the west coast. You either get a trade, work in the big sawmill, the BA factory. The entrepreneurs in that town are really good at what they do, but they're very small knit community, and it's really hard to get their time. I don't want to say it's cliquey, it's small town mentality. But don't get me wrong, there's some very wealthy people up there, but it's just they're not going to be kicking about spending time with people that are sitting on the tools and stuff. They've got their own things to do, which is fine. So I was on the tools, bit of a wreck head when I was younger. Just a bit of a wild child. And then when I had my son, that was when I was like, right, okay, what am I doing here? So then I started getting into entrepreneurship. I was a plumbing and heating engineer. I was doing quite well. Bought a holiday cabin on the west coast. That started giving me a passive income. I then tried different things. I went into like videography, photography, social media, that sort of stuff. And started to learn all the kind of marketing side of that. Built a TikTok following of over 500,000 in like 6 months.
I actually saw your TikTok the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't realise. I was like, oh look, he's got 500,000 followers. We don't use that one.
Don't use it at all anymore. So yeah, I mean that was just like something I was enjoyed at the time, and the whole unique selling point behind that was the fact people love Scotland. So I dialed in on that, and people just wanted to see Scotland, and combine that with obviously a handsome man.
It's been good looking.
It works well. But then after that, and to be honest, with the knowledge I have now, going back, I could have monetised that. I mean, you talk about this all the time. Like, I had 500,000 followers there, even if I closed 10% of them on like, what, a £5 product.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I had no idea about that.
There's a picture of Scotland, you standing your shirt off.
One of them calendars, calendars, different photo me, different place of Scotland.
Let me be March.
So didn't know how to monetise it, but then I just lost interest in it. And then, funnily enough, I went to a party with my friend. There was this big house in Inverness, and I met this guy is huge in the M&A scene, M&A scene. And I went to his party, and he had a nightclub underneath his house. I was like, this is mad, like an actual soundproof nightclub underneath his house for private parties and that. So honestly, you couldn't even hear it, and then he went downstairs.
Yeah.
So I said to him, mate, how did you make your money? He's like, mergers and acquisitions. And he started telling me about it. And obviously, because he was passionate about it, he was just unloading. So I left there, and I was like, right, what is this? That's when I got led into the £49 a month schemes, and then obviously I got targeted by D's Group, and I was like, do you know what, I'm actually just going to take the gamble here, join D's Group. Best thing I ever done, because that's a huge reason why I managed to buy a business. And that's where I met Graham, who's my business partner, who's been helping me on the journey of this kind of business acquisition as well. So I do actually have a question off the back of that for you, because after buying the business and seeing the pain of what the business would be like, what it was like running my business with no business experience, but I was lucky to have people around me I could phone and trust in. Does it scare you, people coming to buy businesses that have got no business knowledge, or paying these £49 courses? Because for me, I'm very lucky I had people by my side, but someone could be sold that dream, run in, not have any idea about the kind of due diligence stage, the financial side they're looking at, and totally obliterate their financial state for the rest of their life with a PG.
So I speak at multiple courses, and this is why I praise the 5D, because I feel it does best prepare people with the amount of literature and the in-depthness and the deal no deals.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a really good community course. That's why I do big it up. And that's why I wouldn't do one myself, simply because I feel that's too good.
Yeah.
Like, if I was going to do it, I want it to be that good. And I ain't got the time, the patience to do all that. I would do like sellers or a business club, whatever, but buying businesses, I think these smashed out of the park. But then I've taught at other communities and spoken on stage at other communities. I'm going to call him Jay for a moment, but I'm sure most people have seen him in the business buying, course selling stuff. And he brought like 100 nurseries, went bust, all this jazz. But it wasn't about his personal business career that I've got an issue I do, but I'm not referencing that. It's actually the quality of the education students that came out of that groups. And I met some really great entrepreneurs. Like a friend of mine now, Jack Baker, he was in the crowd when I was speaking on stage when he paid me £2,000 to speak on stage, whatever. And I met Jack through that. He's gone on to buy like 5 or 6 businesses since then. He's got a big group, care homes and CQC registered businesses, and he's smashing it. But then 90% of the people who are in that 150 person crowd, the ones I know of anyway, have either bought a business, gone bust, now, you know, re-educating themselves through uni or another job, and they weren't really prepared. And even in fact, the guy who runs the course, his assistant, before I went on stage, and this is my first time I got paid speaking, I was about 26 whatever, and I went, wow, a lot of people here, like to the PA, and she went, oh, I feel sorry for them now. I went, what's wrong? She went, oh, half of them never buy a business. I went, oh, they've only paid 10 grand a year to be here. Like, you know, that's mental to me. And yeah, going back to your point thing, I see, it's weird, because when I first started brokering, I thought, I don't mind someone trying like jump through the wealth brackets through buying businesses, because that's what I did, and so on and so forth. But then you get a lot of people inquiring about businesses who have no fucking right to talk business, because they even say, oh, would the seller consider doing 100% finance, or and it's funny actually, from every guru out there, the Dan Peñas, Jeremy Harbers, the Jonathan J, D Ludlow, the Ken Max, all these blokes, minus D, because I like D, they all have their methodologies on how to do it. I never knew direct mail was a real thing. I used to receive loads from other brokers trying to pitch, and sell my business and that, but I didn't actually understand that was a thing. I have all these people ringing me up going, oh, X, Y, Z. I'm like, you're a Dan Peña student. They go, how'd you know that? I go, because you're saying exactly the same shit he says.
That's mad. You can see by style.
Oh, I can tell, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Like 50 inquirers sometimes a day, you know, and you can just tell straight from the bat, from even their email wording to their methodologies of approaching it. I only had one guy, he was really clued up, ex-City banker, really credible guy, and I instantly went to him, you're a Harvard student. He went, how do you know that? He's actually my business partner. Oh yeah, I can tell the way you're talking. Like,
that's mad.
I just tell. He went, oh, are you part of the Harvard Club? I went, no, I'm not actually, but I can just tell that you are by them. I've got no issues with them, because some of them are genuine, experienced professionals looking to go through them barriers as well. Like, both Dean and Patty, I know you guys did your professions in a similar, like either vertical or in that direct profession, and then brought a business, and then had senior management roles, and then brought a business. So that makes sense. That's like a natural pathway. I've got no issues with that. But I hate it when I see like a bricklayer trying to buy a solicitor's practice, or it just doesn't make sense. You know, I always say to potential business buyers, when people ask me, oh, can you give me some advice? I always say, oh, stick to what you know.
Personal branding, and you've touched on it. Grant Cardone, Alex Mosey, you're all smashing it. And I feel business branding is becoming less important than the actual personal brand now. Prime example, Stephen Bartlett. Can any of you just tell me what his company's name is?
Well, I'll tell you his previous company.
The social media company.
Social Circle, I believe. But that's a weird story.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he sold for 3.5 million to a company that eventually was valued at 300 million, and he
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, that's part of a 300 million pound business."
But it's like his personal brand is impeccable.
Huge.
And you know, I was actually listening to Grace Andrews, who was his creative director on the way down. The stuff they done was insane. But you know, now that we're talking about personal brand, I wouldn't mind hearing Pat's story over the last couple of months, because it is pretty spectacular. As soon as you start kind of pushing your own personal brand, what's happened in the last couple of months?
I don't know, spectacular is the word.
I would say so. I think it's pretty life changing, to be honest.
Well, you know, I don't really like this sort of stuff, do I? So it's something I put off. And we had a conversation, was it earlier in the year? Might be further than that back even. And,
yeah, we did, mate.
It's something I was always extremely against, because it's just not who I am. You know, it's not what I'm about. I try and keep myself out of that way, of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But speaking to you and a few other people in sort of similar industries, it came out that basically if you're not doing that, you're just missing out.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about promoting your business all the time. You need to promote yourself, and then in turn, you're driving business in any way. So we had a little switch about with my LinkedIn, didn't we? 'Cause that's all I use, and the results were rapid. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. Like, I had this sort of game plan that, you know, I'm going to try and reach out to people within the industry, but more in the sort of the small into private equity. If I can get a message off someone in, was it 6 months? I said, I think it's 6 months. I'll be happy. And it was at the end of the first week, I had 5 private equity firms reach out to me,
madness.
just message me like, let's have a chat. Like, what you up to? And it was unreal. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, the first week, and all I did was just change my positioning and how I spoke, what I was talking about. Because my LinkedIn at the time, you can scroll back through, go back a couple of months. It's just all about drilling, about swivels, about manufacturing, about some shit I was doing in America. I just switched it around to talk about what I actually do, you know, what I physically do within the business. And
Could I ask you something then, Pat?
go on.
Did you have a consultant, coach, or a course that taught you more about personal branding, other than obviously Mr. TikTok here?
Mr. TikTok.
Did someone came along and helped you with that? Because I was similar to you in my business career. I used to market the business and not myself. And this year, I flipped on its head, and it's actually worked out better than, you know, promoting the business compared to personal branding. So, where did you learn about it?
Dean.
That was Mr. TikTok.
You know, so I have a very different, like, I'm hearing you guys talk about the courses, the M&A stuff. I have the exact opposite view to you two. I'm not sure on your opinion on it, to be fair, but these two, I'm the total opposite.
Well, you give your opinion.
Well, I didn't get a course on personal branding. More people have watched Dean than they watched Black Panther. So who am I going to go to better than that? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not bullshit. Look it up. Right? That's an actual fact. In fact, I tried getting a list of films that had less views than Dean's social media, and it was too long.
Only Avatar and Titanic.
Pretty much.
When you came with me, that was like, I think it was about 100 million views I've had. And you you went away, and Pat does this. He goes away and comes back. It was like when you told us as well about all our customers, and if we closed a certain amount, you're like working it out straight away.
Yeah.
But when you came back, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, who else would you want to speak to? I can go pay someone else, but I don't know if you've noticed as well that a lot of these people that come to you with these personal branding courses, that message you on LinkedIn, they got like 2,000 followers. I'm like, fuck off, I've got more than that anyway.
So I'm very much of the same opinion as you. And if I'm going to go to someone, it's going to be someone I know, I can trust, I can see they've done the work in it.
Yeah.
They've gone through it as well.
Yeah.
And that's why we're all on this table. If I'm honest, I haven't, no disrespect to other people. I don't know they've been through it. They might be great marketers, but I don't know they've been through it. I haven't seen proof they've been through it. I don't know they've gone through like the real struggles of it, like the personal branding, the like with yourself, like the operational stuff, buying a business, selling a business. I don't know they've been through that shit. I can't see that myself. So why would I go and buy something for $4,997? I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm the same.
But a question that, I mean, I struggled with that, believe it or not. And I even spoke to you about it, didn't I, last week? No, but 2 weeks ago. What made you think that you weren't not good enough, but why didn't you start earlier? What held you back?
I didn't have anything to speak about. You know, when you're doing this stuff every day, it's just work for me, isn't it? You know, I came in and says, I'm just doing what I do every day. It doesn't feel that impressive. It doesn't feel that important. It doesn't really feel that difficult either, being honest. So I thought, what am I going to fucking speak about? Like, I just kick about all week getting shit done. And it's not until you take a step back you think actually probably quite useful to someone. You know, it's easy
Absolutely.
when you know how, isn't it? Like with anything, up until that point, it can seem a bit daunting. So I just honestly thought I've got nothing to talk about. Like, I'm just out here selling stuff and buying businesses and
what is it you speak about now?
operations, post acquisitions. Really.
What about them? So explain it to me.
Predominantly the struggles post acquisition. So the operational problems people come into, kind of that breaking that disillusion of like, oh, it's going to be fantastic. Like the thing that Dean spoke about, you know, you're going to come out here and smash it. Yeah. Not the case at all. It's fucking tough. That first 90 days is unreal. You know, I didn't sit a course. You know, I owned 2 businesses before I got Brewis, so I'd already been through the process of starting the business, running the business, and all that good stuff. So I had that bit kind of rounded. But then buying a business and starting a business, they're both tough but in very different ways. And I wasn't prepared for that at all. You know, I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't quite realise how hard it was going to be. And I thought no one really seems to speak about that. You know, on LinkedIn, lots of people talk about the deal process. Mm-hmm. You see all the good bits all the time. There'll always be someone on LinkedIn talking about how great it is and fantastic for them. I'm sure it is at that
after
point.
They've done it.
Yeah, after they've gone for that. But no one speaks about that first 90 days, that first year where, you know, we talk about that hustle culture. It ain't an option for that first 90 days. Yeah. Like it sucks, but unfortunately you're going to be doing 18, 19 hour days sometimes more. You're going to be travelling all week and people don't talk about it. And people don't tell people what to look out for, these little pitfalls, silly stuff. You know, the thing that caught me out, the silliest thing that caught me out after that business was the asset list, right? I looked at all the important stuff, the lathes, the machines, like the mills, the fault lists, yet they're all good. I completely ignored all the IT stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's computers, it's fine. And you get in there and there's like a fucking Windows 10, and there's like a server from 2012, which is what we had. And you think, actually, that's a huge fucking issue. Like, this is a massive international business with old software. It doesn't work. It wasn't even Wi-Fi that was working in the building, you know. It was silly things like that people just miss. So that's what I talk about. The little things that caught me out, and they seem pretty small now, but at the time they were a headache. So.
I remember speaking to you about this when we went for lunch, when I paid the court bill.
Yeah.
And then they completely wiped out the salary for everyone.
Yeah.
Fuck. I can't take a salary now for fucking ages.
Yeah.
Why did I do that? What's a silly cunt?
Yeah.
I'm completely fucked.
For all my career, I used to think, personal brand is bollocks.
Yeah.
I thought it was rubbish.
I was the same.
And it's a big difference. I had 1 million views on LinkedIn over the last 10 months, whatever it was, last 365 days. And some of them are like, you know, politically motivated posts or non-business posts, should I say, not politically motivated, but non-business posts or even comedy posts. I put John Cena up, you know, and they got 100,000 views and crap like that. Yeah. But I think in the old days, you'd have to know someone. You'd give me a recommendation to Dean, and oh yeah, my mate Dean in Scotland, he does this, oh he's a good bloke, you know, and that's how we'd network. But now the world's digital. Yeah. You need to put yourself on camera or stages or put yourself out there on LinkedIn, and people get to know you. In fact, Pat rang me up the other day, and I was actually shocked about this. He went, "Oh, you never guess what happened." "Oh, what's that, mate? I've got to tell you something. Go on, tell me. Don't get me anxious because you got to tell me now." And he's, "Oh, I was speaking to 2 blokes in Idaho, and they know you." I was like, "What?" "Oh, you do it?" I was like, "Yeah." They was like, "So you know Charlie Norton?" Or and they've seen my LinkedIn content. I think that's fucking wild.
That's mad,
yeah, that is wild. Like, and I hope they invite me for a beer sometime in Idaho with the plane tickets paid for. That's so mad, and I've had it before. Like, I've had it before where people have reached out to me. Like, I won't say names, but I'll mention his name again just because we already have it. We knew each other through not the coaching circuit, but the MMA public speaking sort of circuit, and that's how we got introduced. And I think the world is I find it really cool, the fact that it's all digital now, because us four wouldn't be here today if it wasn't. You know, I probably wouldn't know Lewis. Like, he lives 10 miles from me, but because he's from that area, I'm from this area, we probably might have not known each other.
That's why I think courses have got their place, but that's why you're there to help with that. And I don't think, apart from a network, what else can you learn? Can you learn to find a deal? Yeah. You can phone someone up to do that. So I don't really understand. If you've got someone that you can pick the phone up to, and they're actively doing it, this is where I struggle with the course side of stuff because they're monetizing it so much that you're making more money off of that than you are buying a business.
Yeah, and that's you know, I'm not here to glaze the guy, but that's why I give it to D, because he makes more money from business than he does the course. You know, he makes a lot of money from the coursing community.
Yeah.
You know, he makes good money. I'm not going to dispute that. And I know you won't mind me saying this, but he recently exited a consult for equity play for 1.7 million. Like his profit out the sale. Yeah, and then he's also got the car dealerships, the joinery businesses, all the other things. Yeah, the estate agent coming to buy, and that's why I respect him, because he practices what he preaches.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's something I think when you guys are talking about, you know, LinkedIn marketing coach might message you. They've got 2,000 personal brand coach might message you. They've got 2,000 followers. I used to do that as well. I get a call from an SEO company. I type in Google SEO Yorkshire or wherever it's from. I'm like, mate, you're not even number 1 or 2. You know? What do you know about SEO? You know, and I think you do need proof of concept and social proof. Like, you know, like if I because you know, Lewis's firm's collected over 100 grand off me in the past. I know they're good. So when I'll go and get a debt, I'll use Lewis's firm. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of them things. You do need proof in the pudding, as they say.
Yeah, I am conscious that we're not slagging the courses off this end. We're not slagging the courses off. But yeah, like what you were saying there, Charlie, it's knowing someone has actually done it. For me, I know D, or we all know D, that he is proof in the pudding.
Yeah, yes.
For someone that's starting out, who would you recommend to go to if they was to go into a course?
So if I was 17, broke, just chasing tail, like I was, like if I was just...
I mean, you don't even have to be young.
No, but like, let's say you've got no experience, you've got no money, you're just fresh.
Yeah.
You're fresh off the entrepreneurial, the non-entrepreneurial boat. You just come here, grey character in the computer generation game, and the name of the game is to earn money and get into business and buy businesses. There's so much free information out there, and like you said, just pick up the phone to people. I've had so many people. You can tell you're just on a phone call, they've had light bulb moments, and they even said it, oh mate, this is amazing, like what you just told me in this half hour, an hour, like their mind's blown. I'm like, yeah mate, it is what it is, but I don't mind giving people that free time on the phone, because I think I was once that guy who didn't know anything, you know, so I don't mind passing that forward. And I don't think everything has to be paid for, like, you know, people sometimes, I had a former mate of mine, I don't speak to him anymore, but he got invited to go on James English's podcast, and my mate's a bloody nobody. My old mate's a bloody nobody, and I was like, and he's always about personal brand, TikTok, and just try and push himself out there. And his mum's a famous actress. I'm not going to go into details, but anyway, he got invited to go on James English's podcast, and he's like, oh, James English only offered me £500 to go on there. I was like, bruv, you're a fucking nobody. I was like, be grateful. He's even offered to cover your train fare. £500. And some people got it wrong. Some people think, oh, what's in it for me? How much are you going to pay me? They're not thinking, actually, how can I benefit by having this chat, helping other people out, giving that value up front, value. It's like what Gary Vaynerchuk says. I think he says like jab, 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 right hook or something like that, and he says like, you know, give, and then have your ask. Well, Mosey says a similar thing as well. He dropped that school community he's now invested in, but because he had that large entrepreneurial audience, he was like, okay, here's the school community. It's like ClickFunnels or other Thinkific, other sort of community platforms. It costs £99 a month. I bet he got flooded with people coming in, you know, trying to sell courses or create communities. And like, yeah, if I came on every podcast or stage I would go like, let me sell your business straight away. It just looks weird. Yeah, it's not genuine, it's not authentic. And I think going back to your question though, sorry to divulge, but if I'm starting off new and fresh and didn't know anything, there's so much free content out there. There's so many people. Like if I saw one of you guys who've been there and done it, and I haven't done it, and I knew that, I'd actually not stalk you, but I'd connect you on LinkedIn, drop you a message. I watched you on here, or I heard about your journey with Tilbury Hammond, TM West, or Brewis. Really cool, really inspired me. I'd love to have half hour of your time. I can take you out for lunch, or buy you a drink, or tickle your belly for 5 minutes. I know.
It's interesting. So that's actually exactly how I got into this.
Okay.
So I left my last business, and I knew I had to do something significant, so I've got some pretty lofty goals. And I started searching LinkedIn for sort of M&A, people doing deals, and I found Graham Eden. Okay. And I don't recommend this approach necessarily as in the same way I did it, but I just connected with him and then sent him a message saying, "What the fuck do you do?"
That's like the Wolf of Wall Street. Show me the check for $60,000.
Quit my job tomorrow.
That was literally the whole message. That was it.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, nice to meet you. I'm Graham." Sort of Aaron. And we jumped on the call, and that's how I got here. So it was. I just thought I need, like you say, find someone who's done it before. Again, not discrediting courses. I've actually referred my nephew to 5D to join it. I do think there's value in courses, but I think for some people, like for me, it wasn't for me. So finding someone that's done it before, there's so much value in that.
And just off the back of that as well, I'll answer your question as well, what you asked Charlie, because I think if you were to start again, personal brand, put it first. Because if I could go back, I was 17, 18, and I was starting an entrepreneurial journey, I would literally start documenting it from day one. And every day be consistent with posting on LinkedIn saying, this is where I've got to today. Because one, you're building that discipline and consistency through creating content. That's building your personal brand at the same time. And we all know each other because, technically, we've built our own brand. So you'll see you on LinkedIn, you'll see you on LinkedIn, me Instagram, LinkedIn. We've all found each other through a personal brand in some way.
You're fucking everywhere.
So, and that's what the important part is. So for me, if I seen a young entrepreneur that's 17 and just spent 365 days posting consistently, that's going to speak volumes of him going into business as well. If he's been consistent with that, I'm like, right, okay, this guy's got drive, this guy's got ambition, he's documented all. So in the process of documenting, he's learnt about how to create attention. And that's what we're all trying to do. With anything, we're trying to create attention, even with our businesses. So, I think building personal brand should be almost number one.